Yeah. Can hear me?
Yes, doctor.
Okay. How are you today? Everybody, everybody okay?
Yes, okay, sir.
Okay, Doctor.
All right. So if okay, then we can start. For Muslim, we start with Al-Fatihah. Okay, let me see first. How many participants so far? 24. Hmm. Okay. All right. Today, basically, we will continue with the requirement. But before that, as usual, I want to know your progress. I want to know your progress on your assignment number 1. Yeah. So far, what have you done? And so far, what is the progress? How many percent? Yeah. If you want to share, you can share. Yeah. Before we proceed with the chapter. All right. So I want to hear from group 1 first.
Yes, Doctor. Morning.
Morning.
Doctor, so far kita dah buat sampai 65%. So some of the parts dah sampai 50. So overall okay. Tapi yang buat yang words tu dia punya alignment lari-lari. Sebab tu kena adjust.
The alignment tu tak berapa penting. Yang penting the content.
Yang content tu dah ready tapi dia lari-lari.
Okay. So the content must be right. The alignment so on yang tu sekejap je you boleh repair. But the content tu you must make sure that it fulfill the intended intention of the assignment. Okay?
Okay, Doctor.
Do you have anything to share with us? PowerPoint ke apa ni words ke tak ada?
Nak share ke, Doctor?
If you want to share?
Wait, Doctor.
Hello? What happened?
Doktor, dia tengah buka tu processing.
Okay. Timeless manufacturing. Okay, just brush through. Yes, okay. Emission 0, issue 0. Okay. So this is what you have so far.
So far This one quality control already done, doctor.
Until design.
Until continental improvement. Kita time to time kita review update.
Okay. Right. Right. Okay, thank you. Group 2. Group 2. Group 2, if you want, what's your progress so far? If you want to share
Doktor
something.
dengar suara saya, Doktor.
Dengar.
Setakat ni kami tak compile lagi.
Tak compare lagi, okay.
Betul.
Macam mana progress?
Saya bagi due date kat kawan-kawan saya sampai 20 bulan untuk finalize. Lepas tu untuk semua orang baca bagi semua.
Okay. So far, okay, your teamwork, everybody contribute or not?
Setakat ni semua buat ajar.
Okay. Alright. Ada problem? Any
Tak ada.
problem?
Tak ada.
Tak ada.
Yes.
Okay. Alright. So next, group 3. Group 3. Group 3.
Yes, Doctor.
What's your progress so far?
Kami pun belum compile lagi.
Belum compile lagi. So, what have you done?
Kami dah buat sampai di AEE, Develop a Quality Manual. Tapi saya tak tahu pula progress yang lain. So kami kumpul 23 ni. Kami compile.
Okay. Any problem?
No, sir.
Okay. Alright. And then last but not least, group 4. Group 4.
Yes, sir. 50% now.
50%.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to share with us?
I haven't compiled.
You have a compile. Okay. So any problem in your group?
So far, no.
No problem.
Mm.
Okay. Right. Okay. So if no problem, then we can proceed. Okay. So today, make sure everybody got the standard in front of you, or beside you, whatever. Make sure that when your friend present, you make sure that you understand, and make sure that you put all the requirement of the standard of the standard in your system, in your quality manual. Yeah. Okay. So we have completed until 8.4 last week, right? So 8.4 done, which is purchasing requirement on purchasing. Yeah, how we want to control the external provided processes, product or service. Yeah. Then today we will continue with production and service provision. So this requirement basically is related to production people in your organization or in your company. Whoever given responsibility to control production, so this is the standard for you. You have to understand this requirement in order to make sure that this requirement is being addressed in your organization later. Okay, so we start with 8.5. Okay, so 8.5. Still group 2, right? Still group 2, right?
Yes.
Okay. 8.5 production and service provision. 851 control of production and service provision. Okay, continue.
Okay.
851.
All right. My name is Nurul Hidayah. I will continue about control of production and chain.
Okay. Please continue.
Clause 8.5.1 Control of product and service provision requires your organization to control the manner in which products are produced and the service provided. The company should seek and report evidence that your organization has controlled the conditions by which products or services are provided, ensuring that document information that defines the characteristics of the product or service is available. Second, document information that defines the activities that need to be performed to produce the product or deliver the service is available, and that is specifies the results that are to be achieved. Monitoring and measurement takes place at appropriate points in the production process to ensure that both the process themselves and the process outputs meet the organization's acceptance criteria. Monitoring and measurement takes place at appropriate points in the production process to ensure that both the process themselves and the process outputs meet the organization's acceptance criteria. The process environment and infrastructure are stable. First, stable monitoring and measurement resources are made available. Next, personnel are competent and where necessary appropriately qualified. For process where the result cannot be verified by subsequent monitoring or measurement, the process itself initially valid and then periodically re-evaluated. Next, up-to-date work instructions. Okay. Then business should develop, conduct, control, and monitor production process to ensure parts manufacturer conform to specifications. This includes documented instructions that define the production activities, approval of process and equipment, and any change to those process and equipment, monitoring and control of process parameters, and component characteristics during production. Making use of documented procedures, work instructions, specifications, drawing, reference materials, suitable equipment, and specific monitoring and measurement device where the absence of such would affect quality, your organization should employ process controls which are consistent and appropriate for the operations being conducted. The organization should ensure adequate equipment is available and adequate for the manufacture of products to meet specifications. This includes ensuring equipment is maintained periodically, documenting activities performed and by whom and when the activities are performed. Next is 8.5.2 identification and
Okay, hold on. Okay, 851 first, before you continue with 852. For 851, what is basically the gist or the very important point that we must do in order to fulfill this requirement? 851. 851 is about what? About controlling of production. Okay, so we must control our production. Yeah, we cannot let the production run without our control. So we need to control our production. Okay, so the question is how to control our production? How to make sure that our production process is under control condition. How to make sure that our production process is under control condition? How you want to make sure that your production is under control? You must imagine now we are ready to make our product or to produce our product, right? So what are the requirements, what are the control conditions that you need to implement in order to make sure that your production is under control? Okay, Boleh faham my question? You can you understand my question? So how to make sure our production is under control? First, you have to have what? First, you have to have. Hello, Hidayah. You have to
Yes,
have what? You have read this one. You have read the answer just now.
yes.
What you need to have? What you need to have to make sure that your production is under control? Remember, before we are talking about control plan in clause 8.1, if I'm not mistaken, right? I did mention control plan, right?
Yes, Doctor.
For 8.1. So we need to have a documented information. We need to have a availability of documented information. So documented information that is need to be referred to when you want to run a production is your control plan. You must refer to your control plan. Yeah? You must make sure that all your process are being done or are being conducted according to what as you stated in your control plan. So that is number one. You must make sure the availability of the documented information. Documented information here, I refer to your control plan that define characteristic of the product. So you already put in your control plan the result to be achieved, the criteria that you have put in your control plan. Yeah. So that's number one that you have to do. That's number one that you have to have in order to make sure that your production is under control. Yeah. Besides, you have your other documented information. Yeah. But you need to have your control plan, and then you must make sure that your production process is being carried out, yeah, according to what have you planned, what as you stated in your control plan. Okay, that's number one. Number two, how to make sure that your production is under control. How to make sure that the production is under control condition. You must make sure that you have what? You have a suitable measuring resources, monitoring and measuring resources. Do you understand monitoring and measuring resources? Refer back to clause 7. Refer back to clause 7. 7 point what? Monitoring resources. 715. 715. Okay. So you need to refer back to 715. You need to identify what are the resources that for monitoring and measuring. Yeah. Then you have to make sure that the resources for monitoring and measuring are provided. Yeah. Do you know monitoring and measuring resources? Termasuklah alat-alat pengukuran dan people, the competent people to measure and monitor your process. Okay. So that's number two. Number three, how you want to make sure that your production is under control? You must make sure that you implement monitoring and measurement activities. at appropriate stages. What does it mean by monitoring and measurement activities? This is like your test. You test and inspection. You need to test. Yeah, you need to test your process. Yeah, or your product at various stages. Yeah, that's why we have incoming inspection, in-process inspection, final inspection. Yeah, so we must do that. We must do inspection for our product. Yeah, at appropriate stages during the production. Yeah, because production should go various stages until it produce the final product. So at appropriate stages, we need to inspect, we need to monitor, we need to measure, we need to do inspection. Okay, so that is the thing that you have to provide. And then the use of infrastructure, yeah, for operation. Yeah, this is, you need to refer back to your what clause for infrastructure. You need to refer back to your clause 713. You need to refer back to 713. So what have you identified in 713? You must make sure that you can the infrastructure that you identify in 713 are available when you want to run the production. Okay, and then the appointment of competent person, including any required qualification. This one you need to refer back to what? You need to refer back to 7.72. You need to refer back to 7.2. Okay, so 7.2, it says that you have to make sure that all your people doing work, yeah, must be competent. So here it says the appointment, you must appoint a certain people who are qualified to do the process. Yeah, okay, understand or not? That's why you have to understand the entire entire requirement, because some of the requirement you need to relate back. Yeah, for example, like 851D, you must refer back to 7 what? You must refer back to 713 and 714. And 815 you must refer back to 72. Yeah, that's why you have to understand the entire system, the entire requirement for you to develop a complete system for your company. Okay, and then what else that you need to provide in order to make sure that your production is under control? Yeah, you read 851F. You see 851F, the validation and periodic revalidation of the ability to achieve planned result of the process for production or service, where resulting output cannot be verified by subsequent monitoring and monitoring or measurement. What does it mean here? What does it mean by 851F? 851F. What does it mean here? What you need to do for your process? What does it mean by the process that the resulting output cannot be verified by subsequent monitoring or measurement? What does it mean? For process where the result cannot be verified by subsequent monitoring and measurement, So you write here. You write here, right? For process where the result cannot be verified by subsequent monitoring and measurement. What does it? Can you give example? What kind of process? Example of this process is what? The process where the result cannot be verified by the subsequent monitoring or measurement. Can you give example? What kind of process that fall under that category? Hello? Anybody? Not only Nurul Hidayah, anybody? Can you give example? The process where the result cannot be verified by subsequent monitoring or measurement. Anybody? What does it, what does it mean by that statement? Can you give example? What process? Hello? Hello? For a process where the result cannot be verified by the subsequent monitoring or measurement. Can you give example? What process that fall under this category? Hello? Anybody? Hello, anybody? Are you still here? Semua ada sini ke? Ataupun saya seorang saja cakap ni? Hello? Process output, no? Not the process output. The process where the result cannot be verified by subsequent monitoring or measurement. What is the process? What? Example. Example, the process that cannot be verified by the subsequent monitoring and measurement.
Process verification.
Yeah, process verification, what process? Proses apa? Contoh, you bagi contoh, senang nak faham. You bagi contoh. Contoh produk. Contoh produk yang fall under this category.
Contoh produk.
Bukan semua proses you need to, bukan semua proses that you need to verify, that you need to validate.
Catheter.
Kereta what? Yang tu kita boleh check. That one we can check. Apa yang kita tak boleh nak check? Apa yang kita boleh nak check supaya yang nak menentukan dia tu fungsi ke tak? Dalam kereta, okay, kita you imagine dalam kereta kan? Dalam kereta kita ada safety apa? Airbag system kan? Safety airbag system. Kan? Betul tak? Dalam kereta. kereta yang baru lah. Okay. So when you buy a car, so your car ada airbag system, ada sistem airbag. Di mana airbag itu kita tak tahu sama ada dia, kita tak boleh nak verify dia, the function of the airbag, unless kita crash the car lah. Kita crash the car, then barulah airbag tu berfungsi. Boleh faham? So kita tak boleh nak verify dia punya the function of the airbag sebelum tu. Ya, sebelum dia car tu accident lah, sebelum car tu crash. Betul tak? Itu contoh dia. Jadi kita, disebabkan kita tak boleh nak verify, due to we cannot verify the airbag, so we need to validate the process of making the airbag system in the car. We cannot verify the airbag, but we need to validate the process of making the airbag system in your car. So that is example. Yeah, that is the example of the process where resulting output cannot be verified by subsequent monitoring and measurement. So if your product fall under that category, what you need to do, you need to validate your process, not the product. You need to validate the process. Yeah. Then you need to also revalidation at a certain period. Maybe every 2,000 pieces, then we need to revalidate, for example. So we have to follow, yeah, the initial planning from the design. Okay, so that is 851F. 851F. Understand? So if your product fall under this criteria, then you need to validate your process of making that product. And then 851G. 851G. What does it mean by the implementation of action to prevent human error? Can you give example of this? Any implementation to prevent human error? Human error.
So like using to prevent the human error, we use the Poka-Yoke.
Okay, Poka-Yoke. What is Poka-Yoke system? What is Poka-Yoke system? Can you give example of Poka-Yoke system that can you use, that you are using every day? Example of Poka-Yoke system? Any system that can prevent human error. Any mechanism or any devices that can prevent human error. So we can use in our production, like alarm system, yeah. When you do defect product, the alarm will trigger you. Then the production will stop. That is example of Poka-Yoke system. That is example of human error proving system. Yeah. Then to prevent you from forgetting your bank card, if you go to ATM machine, if you go to the ATM machine to withdraw your money, then you put in your card, right? You put in your card, your bank card, and then you key in the password, yeah. After that, you key in the amount you want to withdraw, yeah. During the process for withdrawing, yeah, after the process, the card will come first or the money will come out first for the teller machine. the card will come first, will come out first, or the money will come out first?
Kad.
The card. Why the card? Why you think that the card will come out first?
Sebab kalau
Because
orang ambil duit dulu, dekat kan sebab dia tiket duit.
dia nak prevent from the human error. Human tend to make error bila dia nampak banyak duit, dia dah ambil duit, dia ada kemungkinan untuk dia lupa kad. Kan? So the system dalam tu dia dah design supaya kad akan keluar dulu, barulah duit akan keluar, duit akan follow. So dia prevent human error di situ. That is a example of Pokayoke system. Yeah. So we can design, we can program so that people will not make mistake, people will not forget. Yeah. So in your production also you can put Pokayoke system, you can design Pokayoke system. Yeah. In order to make sure that people to prevent from human error, to prevent from careless mistake, to prevent from the mistake made by human. So we can use that. Example, in production line, you can see a lot of what we call a lot of alarm system. Yeah. Apa lagi? The sound system. Yeah. That will trigger us if something wrong happen in our production. Yeah. Okay. And then last but not least, H. H is the implementation of release, delivery, and post-delivery activities. So meaning to say that before you send your product to your customer, what you need to do is you need to make sure that the product is being checked, the product is being approved before you deliver your product. Okay, so those are the things that you need to do in your production to make sure that your production is under control. Otherwise, we can say that your production is not under control. Yeah. Okay, so you must do 851A, B, C, D until G. Okay, understand?
Understand?
Okay, then you can continue. 852. Hidayah lagi ya? Okay, continue. 852.
Next, identification and traceability.
Okay.
Requirement is comparable to the requirements from ISO 9001 to 2008, clause 7.5.3, identification and traceability. The company should and record evidence that product is identified and its status with regards to monitoring and measuring is identified throughout the manufacturing process. Where traceability is a requirement, you should expect to see that your organization is controlling and recording the unique identity of the product throughout the production process to ensure that only products that have passed the required inspections and tests are utilized. The organization must have a process in place for the identification and traceability of outputs. Example, physical part marking, labeling, tags, barcodes, sign, visual indicators, part segregation, lay down areas, storage racks. There are several ways of identifying products to prevent them becoming mixed with other parts, components, or others. The most obvious is using tags or stickers with a unique traceability identifier, such as a lot of batch number included on the product labels. The identification may be engraved in the product itself, or the product may simply be marked by a color. establish and implement a procedure to identify the product through the design, development, manufacture, and delivery. Establish the identity and status of products, maintain the identity and status of products, maintain records of serial or batch number.
Mm.
That's it.
Okay. So 852 is simple. Simple in terms of at any stages, you must identify your product. That's number one. At any stages, the product must be identified. Yeah. Maybe in progress, work in progress, finished product. Yeah. Waiting for inspection, ongoing, must have the identification. Yeah. Product where does not have identification, we can consider as a rejected product. So in our production, remember, clause 8 basically we were talking about production in the context of production. Okay, in our production, if we cannot see or we are not in our production, if we don't know the status of the product, we consider the product is rejected. So at every stages, the product shall have identification. That's number one. And number two, we must make sure that the identification is unique. The identification is unique. So that why we need a unique identification? Because we can trace back. Meaning to say that if we are not a product have no unique identification, then it is impossible for us to trace our product. So we have to design whether according to lot number, production date, or whatever. So as long as it is unique, then it can be traceable to the source of the raw material, basically. Yeah. So that is the requirement of 852. So it says here, we shall use suitable mean to identify output. Output mean product in your case. Yeah. Whether finished good or still work in progress, we consider your product. Okay. And the output, the identification, the organization shall identify the status of output with respect to inspection, with respect to monitoring and measurement. So when we test the product, so some of the product okay, some of the product no good, some of the product NG. So product okay, we label okay. Product NG, product no good, we label no good. So we use appropriate labeling, appropriate signage according to your, depending on your product size and your product profile and so on. Okay, and then we must make sure that the identification is a unique identification so that we can trace back the product to its sources, to its source. Okay, so that is identification and traceability. Okay, next 853.
Assalamualaikum Doktor.
Salam. Siapa ni? Fakira.
Fakira.
Okay.
Ya saya. I will continue to next part which is 8.5.3.
Okay.
Property belonging to customers or external providers.
Okay.
This class is about handling property that is given to you to use but that does not belong to you.
Hmm.
This property is anything that is provided for you to use with or incorporate into your product and services.
Hmm.
This clause instruct us to be careful with the property given to us, meaning we need to identify, verify
Hmm.
the property while we manage it.
Hmm.
Next, you need to find if it lost or damaged. If you are using anything that belongs to another organization, you need to follow the good standard practice of clause 8.5.3.
Okay. So this requirement is about what? Is about to taking care of other people property. People property that is not belong to us. Property that is belong to customer or other external provider. Yeah. So any property that is not belong to us, yeah, maybe given by our customer or given by our external providers for us to use in our production. So the requirement says we must take care of that property. Yeah, whether machine, whatever that is given to you. Yeah, even drawing also. Sometimes customer give you drawing. So drawing we consider as a customer property as well. So we need to make sure that we take care of the drawing that is given by the customer. Yeah. Sometimes customer give you raw material. Sometimes customer give you chemical. Yeah, to be used in your production. So whatever that is given by the customer or external providers, yeah, we must take care of the property that is given to us lah. How to take care? First, we must identify, and then we must verify, and then we must protect, and we must safeguard those things. Or that's the requirement. Yeah, we must identify, meaning to say that every machine or every chemical or every drawing that is given by customer, we must put a label to identify. Yeah, and then we have to verify, we have to check. Yeah, somebody has to check the property. Yeah, somebody has to check and somebody has to approve that the property is belong to customer or external providers. Then of course we have to protect it from damage or whatever lah. Yeah. So that is number one. Number two, if the property is damaged, sebelum that, if the property is lost, yeah, customer give you, for example, customer give you drawing, then you lost the drawing somehow lost in your organization. Yeah, so what you need to do in that case, you need to what?
Bayar ganti rugi.
You tak payah bayar, you need to report saja. You need to report to the customer. Then bergantung kepada customer lah, some customer minta ganti rugi. Tapi dalam standard kata kalau kita tak boleh, kalau dia hilang, kita mesti report kepada customer. Then kalau report tu, kita tak boleh duduk diam-diam lah, maknanya kita kena report kat dia. Dan selepas report tu mungkin customer akan kata kena minta ganti rugi, lepas tu itu antara you dengan customer lah. Ya, tapi the standard says we must report. If the property is lost, we must report. If the property is damaged, also we must report. Rosak ya. Ataupun the property given to us is not suitable to be used, also we need to report. We need to report to the customer. Okay. So we have to make sure that the property are taken care of, the property is not lost, the property is not damaged, the property can be used in our production. Yeah. So that is the requirement for the 853. So 853 number one that the first thing that you need to do is you need to identify all the property that is belong to the customer in your organization. Yeah. After that, you need to label it. You need to identify it, and then you need to check. You need to verify. Yeah. There must be somebody to approve, to say that this is the customer property. Then you have to take care of the property. Yeah. Make sure it is not lost, it is not damaged, it is all the time can be used in your production. Okay. All right. So that is 853. Then continue 854. 854, continue. Okay.
Okay. Preservation adequate measures are taken to protect and preserve the product during internal processing and delivery to the intended destination. The preservation process includes packaging, storage, and other product-specific handling methods. The requirements for which are likely to be an output of the design process. First is identification. Ensure that products are properly identified and do not become mixed with other orders. This is relative to identification and traceability. However, for preservation of product, it is a requirement and not applicable. Second is handling. This may include bulk handling using mobile equipment or physical contact where handling may influence product conformity. Next is packaging. Ensure that labeling and of shipped products are sufficient to enable adequate identification and traceability through your QMS. Package products appropriately for shipping in order to preserve the product integrity throughout the shipping process. Storage. Prevent the deterioration, damage, or loss. You should expect to see that product is stored in a manner to safeguard product. Lastly, protection. Raw materials, in-process materials, inspected product, non-conforming product ready for shipping should also be identified with its status and protected from any unintended alteration.
Okay. So preservation ni dia punya clause ini is relevant to the store department lah. Store department ataupun logistic department yang nak hantar produk kita, produk yang dah siap. Yeah. After we make the product, the finished good, we send to store. We send to store, to storage before we deliver to customer. So before we deliver to customer, it says here, we shall preserve the product. The output during production is the product lah. In your case, is your product. We shall preserve the product to the extent necessary to ensure conformity to requirement. Meaning to say that we must make sure that the product meet the requirement until it reach to the intended customer. So we must take care. We must make sure that all the time when we store, we must make sure that the storage is proper. It will not damage the product, so that when customer receive the product, customer should receive the product as what they expected, to ensure conformity of the requirement. Of the requirement means requirement from customer lah. So we have to protect it. We have to make sure that if we store it properly. If we stack it properly. We will not damage the product. We must make sure that the product reach to the customer in the condition that it meets all the requirement of the agreed requirement earlier at the beginning with the customer. Okay, so that is in terms of preservation, preservation of product. In terms of control packaging, storage, and so on, that's all included in a storage. If you have a store department, so this is the requirement according to store department. Yeah, we must make sure that the product are preserved until it reach to the intended destination. Okay. Okay. 855. I think 855. We still have time. 855.
855 is about post-delivery activities.
Okay.
It states that the organization shall meet requirements for post-delivery activities associated with the products and services. In determining the extent of post-delivery activities that are required, the organization should consider post-delivery activities. There are some sections, but I explain about the first one. Post-delivery activities mean based on customer agreement or other agreement. The organization may be responsible for providing support for their product or services after delivery. This could include the technical support, routine maintenance or total recall, recycling, reusable packaging, returnable containers, and many more. The extent of post-delivery activities will depend on this subsection. First, the statutory and regulatory requirements. Means if statutory or regulatory requirements dictate post-delivery activities or warranties, they must be addressed. Second, the potential undesired consequences associated with its products and services. Meaning, the organization must consider all the potential consequences about the products, and they must how they intend to respond, the scope of their reaction plan, and many more. Next. Okay, C, nature, use, and an intended lifetime of its products and services. This means it is very commonly stated in the organization's written policy or statement of liability. Some organizations clearly state that there are no warranties offered, expressed, or implied. If this is the case, this section can be addressed simply by acknowledging that there are no post-delivery activities. Okay, D, customer requirements. It means if the customer requires post-delivery support, warranty, or protection through delivery and also receipt or other things, the post-delivery activity should be clearly described by the organization. And the last one, the customer feedback. It is important because customer feedback should be considered when determining the scope of post-delivery activities. This also implies that the scope of those post-delivery activities may change over time in response to customer feedback. So this is 8.5.5 generally talk about.
Okay, good explanation. Siapa tadi? Nur Ain Izzati kan?
Yes.
Okay, good, very good. So any question? Any question on that? Any from the rest? Do you clear the requirement for 855? Everybody clear? I think is well explained by Nur Ain. Yeah? Everybody understand, huh? Everybody understand? If you don't understand, you can ask. Okay, if not, then continue.
Okay, next.
856.
Okay, next is about 8.5.6, the control of changes. Okay, this about the organization shall review and control changes for production or service provision to the extent necessary to ensure continuing conformity with requirements. The organization should retain information describing the results of the review of changes, the person who authorized the changes, and any necessary action arising from the review. Next, the organization is required to review and control changes for all of the previously discussed production and service provision topics, including that they have not should not be missed. First, the 8.5.1, the control of production and service provision. 8.5.2, the identification and traceability. 8.5.3, property belonging to customers or external providers. 8.5.4, preservation. And the last one that I talked about just now, 8.5.5, post-delivery activities. Okay, next. This means that the organization if they do some changes, all the changes must be controlled, and changes that are not clearly communicated can create confusion. Confusion. Then changes that have not been adequately reviewed and vetted may be implemented and result in an undesired outcome. Next, changes in general create instability and a robust change management process is critical to ensure changes are fully reviewed, approved, communicated, understood, and validated when they are implemented. And lastly, records describing the results of the review of changes, personnel authorizing the change, and any necessary actions arising from the review have to be maintained. So basically, the organization is required to review and control all the changes for all the previously discussed. I think that's it, sir.
Okay, thank you. I think very well explained by your friend here. Yeah, Nur Ain Zati. Okay, thank you, Nur Ain Zati.
Okay,
Very
thank
good
you, sir.
explanation. So everybody clear? 856. Any question on 856? Okay, good. Oh. If no question, apa lagi yang tak mention here? Authorizing the change. Okay, review. Okay, right. So it's covered. Okay. So if no question, I think we can proceed with the release of product. Proceed with release of product 86. Okay, 86. Okay, 86.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalam.
I will present. I will explain about 8.6 release of products and services.
Safia, Safia.
Yeah. The organization shall implement plan arrangements at appropriate stages to verify that the product and service requirements have been met. The release product and services shall not proceed until the plan arrangements have been satisfactorily completed unless otherwise approved by a relevant authority and as applicable by the customer. The organization shall retain document information on the release of product and services. The document information shall include evidence and conformity with the acceptance criteria and traceability to the person authorizing the release.
Okay.
That's all.
So, okay, continue. Habis dah? Habis dah?
Ya, Doktor.
8.6 habis dah? Okay, 8.6, what is the gist of 8.6 basically? The gist of 8.6 is you cannot release your product. You cannot release your product unless all the plan arrangement that you made earlier has been met. You kena tengok balik you punya quality plan. Adakah dalam quality plan tu all you follow all the quality plan that you have done. You kena tengok balik you punya work instruction, the procedure. Adakah dia follow procedure dan sebagainya. Yeah, we must make sure that all the plan arrangement that we have planned at the earlier stages must be implemented and verified before we release the product. So if we need to do the inspection 3 times, if we plan to do inspection 3 times, so we need to comply 3 times inspection before we release the product to our customer. So it says here, the organization shall implement plan arrangement to verify that the product requirement has been met. So that's number 1. So the product shall not proceed. The release of product to the customer shall not proceed until the plan arrangement has been completed. Yeah. So unless approved by a relevant authority or approved by customer. So we can release the product with one condition only. We can release the product with one condition. Yeah. One is you meet all the plan arrangement. If you not meet the plan arrangement, we must get consent from customer. We must get approval from customer. So if customer says okay, then only we can release. Even though we are not meet the plan arrangement. Even though we are not meet whatever we planned before. Yeah. So that is the only condition that is allowed by the standard. Otherwise, we cannot release. Yeah. We must make sure that all the plan arrangement has been met before we release. Yeah. Only under one condition, if we get the permission from the customer, then only that is the exception that we can consider on. Okay. Then it says here, we shall retain documented information of the released product. Yeah, all the testing, all the verification of the product, we must make sure that we keep the information. Evidence of the conformity of the acceptance criteria. Yeah, of course, if we have a testing report, we need to keep the test report, the inspection report, and so on. Yeah, and then we must make sure that documented information shall include traceability to the person authorizing the release. So we must know who are given authority to release the product, and we must make sure that the release of the product is given by the right by the authorized personnel, by the authorized people that we have assigned for. So product cannot be released by other people rather than the assigned personnel that we have planned earlier. Yeah. So we must make sure that the information is traceable to the person who authorized the release. Okay. All right. Any question? Any question? Any question? So if no question, I think we stop here for today. We start at 8:06. So we will continue with 8:07 on Wednesday. All right. So what is the summary for today? Where's the summary for today? Today we are talking about production, okay? Today we are talking about production, yeah? How we need to control production, yeah? Start from we must make sure that all the production follow our quality plan, yeah? We must make sure that the product has identification and traceability. We also must make sure that we are taking care of customer property. We must make sure that the product is preserved until it reach to intended destination. Yeah. We also need to consider the post-delivery activities if there are required to do that. Yeah. Then we need to control any changes, yeah, of the product. And then we must also make sure that the product follow a certain standard before it is released to the customer. Okay, so that is the gist for today. Yeah, we're talking about production. We make the product until we release to customer. Any question?
No, sir.
Okay, if no question, I think that's all for today. Yeah, we start a bit. We start a bit earlier lah. 10 about for 9 minutes early. Yeah. Okay, so go back, continue with your assignment. Make sure that you understand the standard and address the requirement in your manual, in your system. Yeah. Okay. You can revise, and make sure that you do it properly. Don't wait until last minute. Yeah, because that assignment you cannot wait until last minute. Okay. Okay. If no question, I think that's all for today. Thank you very much for joining me. Yeah. So we will meet again on Wednesday.